What's up everyone, I'm CallumOnToast, and in today's video I'm going to be revisiting probably my favourite team I've built this season. I'm running Stone Edge on Shadow Flygon to nuke those flyers that have grown in popularity this season after the wing attack buff, and then to make up for the lack of ground coverage I'm also running Earthquake on Haxorus, and you guys already know there's going to be so many nukes that go unshielded that my opponents just aren't expecting, and that will be flipping so many games. So if you're excited for that, then make sure you leave a like, and with that being said, let's get into the question of the day. If you could make one change to the current Open Great League meta to make it less stale, what would it be and why? Let me know in the comment section down below, and with that being said, let's get into the battles now. Alright, so going into the first battle here, we lead into a Dragonair, and I'm expecting already there's going to be Medicham and Bastiodon in the back. Fairly common team now. I think Homesize Henry did a video on it, and it has certainly gained a lot of popularity since then, although I'm sure there were still quite a lot of people already running the team. But here, we're going to go for a Brutal Swing. Unfortunately, Overheat is resisted. It's the bigger charge move that we're running, so that doesn't quite take them out, but I'm happy to shield in this matchup and fully farm them down, or even swap into my Flygon to bait out the Medicham. But unfortunately, we are lagging massively, and it is a problem with my Wi-Fi. You see, I take off the Wi-Fi, and suddenly we're back in the game, but we've been farmed down. They're already at a charge move, and I know there's a Medicham in the back. It is not looking good for me whatsoever. I'm going to go for a Dragon Claw here, hoping they let this go through. Well, I'm expecting they do. Swap into my Haxorus, and luckily for me, they do swap out, and they swap into the Bastiodon, which is great. I'm looking at the damage here. I don't think I can get a full counter farm down, but I'm at 100 energy, so I go for a Night Slash. They let it go through. We have the Earthquake loaded, and surely my opponent's not going to expect an Earthquake, and we one-shot the Medicham, take them out, even though they still had a shield, and I'm able to take that game. What a crazy way to start the video. But into the next game here, we're going to lead into a Lantern. My opponent's going to swap here, counter my Flygon with their Alolan Ninetales. We go for the Stone Edge, and we one-shot the Alolan Ninetales. We regain switch advantage, and if they come in with the Lantern, they're going to throw straight away, and I'm actually going to shield in this matchup here. I realise I can easily get the shield back, and I can farm to the back-to-back Dragon Claws here before they get to the next Surf. We get the shield here, and we go for another Dragon Claw. They actually do go for an overfarm, which is smart on their part. Dragon Claw not going to be enough to take them out, and they do throw just before I reach another Dragon Claw. But certainly Flygon has put in a ton of work in this game already. They're going to swap now into a Noctowl. We're going to go for the Night Slash just before they get to a Sky Attack. I think we probably will swap out here, trying to catch the move. It doesn't really matter when they throw, because we can comfortably tank any one charge move here. They go for the Sky Attack. I'm going to overfarm, go up to the Overheat, go for a Brutal Swing, and Brutal Swing does get the final shield from this opponent. So now I will no shield my Weezing. Sky Attack barely doesn't take us out, which is unfortunate, but we do nearly have the Night Slash. We get to it here, we throw on the CMP tie, Night Slash takes out the Noctowl, and we should be able to get to one final Night Slash to take out this Lantern, and that should be a very easy win for us once again. So we go for the Night Slash here, going to be taking out the Lantern, and I'm able to take that game. So GG's to that opponent there. Into the next game, we see another Lantern in the lead. This time I'm going to safe swap into my Flygon, and I'm met with a Noctowl. Are they going to respect the damage from the Stone Edge? Yes, they are. You see, there was no shield animation, but they certainly did shield it, so that's not great for us there. Stone Edge would have done massive damage here. We're able to get to another Stone Edge on the CMP tie with the next Sky Attack, and we get the final shield from this opponent, so they really do want to keep switch advantage. So I'm going to say, no, you're not getting switch advantage here. I get to another Stone Edge on the CMP tie once again, and Stone Edge this time does connect, and it does take out the Noctowl. We regain switch advantage, and once again my opponent has to throw here, otherwise I would get to another Dragon Claw. They go for the Surf. It does take me out from this range. I can come in with my Haxorus here, and I can safely tank whatever they throw, and I should be able to get to the Earthquake as well. They go for the Thunderbolt. They swap into Obstagoon. I bank an Earthquake just in case, but we should be in a very good position here, because Galarian Weezing absolutely walls Obstagoon if they're not running the Hyper Beam or the Gunk Shot, which it looks like they're not running. So we're very, very good in this position at the moment. We go for the Overheat. Overheat gonna take out the Obstagoon. We have debuffed our attack. Honestly, Nothing really matters here what we throw. We go for the Brutal Swing, doesn't matter, it's debuffed, not going to take them out. Go for another Brutal Swing, once again not going to take them out. And as long as we don't lag at the end of this game, we should be able to go for the Earthquake, and this will be massive overkill, but I don't care, I'm going to send it anyway. An Earthquake takes out the Lantern, and I'm able to take that game. So GG's to that opponent there. Into the next game, we lead into a Pelipper, and this is going to be very odd, but I'm going to save swap into my Flygon anyway. They're going to go for a charge move. Unfortunately, this does do quite a lot of damage to the Shadow Flygon. We're going to get to the Stone Edge, overfarm just a little bit, and go for it here, and Stone Edge one-shots the Pelipper. They just don't respect the damage coming from the Shadow Flygon. Unfortunately, I don't expect them to shield now. We're not even at a potential Earth Power, and they do let it go through, but that's fine with me. I'm going to come in with my shiny Haxorus here, and I'm reading it's probably going to be some sort of double steel team, so I'm actually perfectly happy with double shielding in this matchup if it means I can get my Haxorus aligned to something like a Bastiodon. So I will shield a second Rock Slide here, gonna go for the full farm down, and my opponent, recognizing they won't get to another Rock Slide, so they swap into the Bastiodon here. We go for the Night Slash, get the first shield here. Can we go for the Earthquake? No, we're just going to settle for a Night Slash here, and then probably swap after the next move. We are going to bank a Night Slash just in case we need it in the end game here. Swap into the Weezing. Stone Edge does about half our health. We will be able to get to an Overheat. This should be grabbing the final shield from the Bastiodon, and at this point I think it is game over here. We're going to go for another Overheat, but the opponent catches perfectly onto the Galarian Stunfisk. We take them out here. They're going to be able to farm me down, and at this range we've still got the Night Slash. Is this enough to take out the Bastiodon? Yes it is, and I'm able to take that game. So that was an incredibly close game there. My opponent, perfect catch in the end game, but luckily that Night Slash was barely enough to take out the Bastiodon. But into the next game here, we lead into a Medicham, very good lead, where we want to see it. They swap into Diggersby, and this is a bit tricky because Diggersby is a very bulky Pokemon, but I'm going to shield in this matchup, and if they go for the Earthquake, which they do, they won't make it to another one. They try to commit for it, but they don't get there, and we get a very nice farm down. And at this point, I'm expecting there's no way they're going to shield the Medicham here. Why would they expect an Earthquake coming from the Haxorus? But they do shield it, and that is no good, and here we will make it to a Night Slash, but this just isn't going to do that much damage, and they do let it go through. And Medicham, with a lot of energy, is incredibly dangerous here. I'm going to shield, and they bait me with a Power-Up Punch, and if this is a Psychic, it's game over already. I might as well concede the match, but it's an Ice Punch, so there's still a slither of hope here. We're going to go for the Brutal Swing. Brutal Swing gets the shield from the Medicham, but I get to another one, and this is great. Unfortunately, not going to take them out, but it will put them into range where I can at least farm them down with my Flygon. They go for the Ice Punch, take me out. They've got a Registeel in the back, and here, if we were just running the typical movesets for my Haxorus and my Shadow Flygon, we would have easily been able to take this game. But unfortunately, the spicy moveset doesn't really come in handy here, as we can only hit for resisted charge moves. They get to a Focus Blast. It barely doesn't take me out, but one more lock-on does, and I do end up losing that game. So that's certainly very unfortunate, but you will see a lot of times where this moveset comes in absolute clutch. And into the next game here, oh, GG's by the way to that opponent, very well played. And into this game here, we're leading into an Alolan Ninetales, definitely where we want to see it. We're going to bait with a Brutal Swing. We get the shield here, and we will shield up in this matchup. They go for another Weather Ball. That would have nearly taken me out. I'm going to overfarm here, throw just before they reach the next Weather Ball, and Overheat takes them out. I'm going to swap straight away into my Shadow Flygon. They come in with the Trevenant, and here, there's no way they expect the Stone Edge, right? We're going to go for it, and Stone Edge does huge damage and actually puts them into range where I can fully counter farm them down with my Haxorus. Seed Bomb actually takes us out. That's how glassy Shadow Flygon is, but we will be able to come in with the Haxorus, get a couple counters worth of energy, and here we can go straight for the Night Slash. These boosted counters, if we can get the boost, unfortunately we don't, would have added up so much here, but we're going to shield up this charge move. I'm expecting them to go for the back-to-back, so I swap out, catch the charge move here, and at this point we're in a very good position. They do undercharge, get one extra mud shot, but it doesn't matter, and here we lag, and I'm like, no way are we going to lose this game to lag, but no, it looks like both myself and my opponent were lagging. Maybe they just conceded the match exited the app or something, but certainly gave me a scare there, but we're able to take that game. Into the next game, we lead into a Pelipper once again. This time we're actually going to stay in because I thought I was pretty lucky with how I played that last matchup, swapping into the Shadow Flygon. So I'm going to shield here. They go for a Weather Ball, and I'm thinking as well, if there is the same sort of team, then Double Steel's in the back, my Pokemon in the back should do pretty well. There's no reason for me to swap out. We're going to go for a Brutal Swing here, and we do get the first shield from my opponent. They will get to another Weather Ball, and they do have the back-to-back. And unfortunately, we do lose the CMP tie, but that is absolutely fine here. Weather Ball takes me out. I come in with the Haxorus here, go for the counter farm down, and they don't make it to a Hurricane, which is perfect. And they also don't even commit to throwing a Weather Ball either, so that is great. We go for a Night Slash, get the first shield from the Trevenant here, go for a second Night Slash. This will put them very low. We swap into the Flygon here. Unfortunately, they do get to a Shadow Ball just before we get to a Dragon Claw. They bait me with a Seed Bomb. We're going to overfarm just a tiny bit, go for the Dragon Claw here. Dragon Claw takes out the Trevenant, and they've got a Registeel in the back, and once again, this would be so much better for us if we had the Earth Power here, but we're going to go for a Dragon Claw that does some decent chip damage. A second Dragon Claw will actually put them into the yellow health here, and they have to go for a Focus Blast, and if they're at 100 energy, it means it will take them 10 turns to get to the charge move here. That's the exact amount it takes me to get to a Night Slash, and Night Slash from this range is enough to take out the Registeel and take that game. So that was an incredibly close end game there, but we're able to take it. Into the next game here, we lead into a Mantine, and I should really go for a Brutal Swing straight away because they're just going to go and debuff me, and at this point, this makes the matchup a lot more difficult because 3 Brutal Swings won't be enough to take out this Mantine here. We land the first one, we're going to go for a second one before they throw the next charge move, and we will be able to land a third one here, but unfortunately, they just don't do that much damage after the debuff, and they can safely no-shield all of them. I'm going to let this move go through, probably going to be an Ice Beam here, and it barely doesn't take me out. I try to swap into my Haxorus here, going to shield up, probably a Bubble Beam. It is a Bubble Beam, and that is really unfortunate. They come in with the Registeel here. They're not going to expect an Earthquake, but they have lowered my attack, so we go for the Earthquake here, and it doesn't take them out, and they barely hang on because of that attack debuff. We're now going to shield the Focus Blast here, go for the full counter farm down, and now we are 2 shields down. It's not looking good for us, especially since they have a Shadow Swampert, which is an extremely deadly Pokemon when they've got shields and we don't. So unfortunately, Hydro Cannon resisted, takes us out. They're 4 away, so I'm going to swap here, catch the charge move perfectly, and we should be able to barely outpace them to the next charge move here, and then get to the back-to-back, and when we are at the second Dragon Claw, it will be a CMP tie, so I actually anticipate them swapping there to catch the move, but they don't. They just go straight for the charge move, and unfortunately, even though we had the energy for the Dragon Claw, we do end up losing that game. So GG's to that opponent there. I guess I sort of expected my opponent to make a play to try and catch the move like I did earlier in the battle, but unfortunately it didn't go that way, so we do lose that game. But into the next game here, we led into a Walrein. My opponent is farming up to like infinite energy here. We go for an Overheat after getting a Brutal Swing bait, and at this point I'm pretty happy with the Weezing. Hopefully we can counter farm them down before they get to an Icicle Spear, and we are able to. They come in with a shiny Costume Sableye, very nice. We're going to swap into my Flygon after banking a Night Slash. They come in with the Trevenant here, and apparently we lose the CMP tie here, which is not great for us here. We're going to go for the Seed Bomb, and or they're going to go for the Seed Bomb. Unfortunately, we do shield that up, and now we're going to overfarm here, go for the back-to-back Dragon Claws. I really hope they let this go through, and they do, which is perfect. I'm going to overfarm once again, get to the back-to-back Dragon Claws once again, and I'm actually going to bank the second one, swap into my Haxorus, go for the Night Slash, and at this point we should be able to put them into range for another Dragon Claw to KO. So we do just let the Haxorus go down. They go for a Power Gem for whatever reason. We go for the Dragon Claw, and this is going to be enough to take out the Costume Sableye eventually, and we're able to take that game. So GG's to that opponent there. Into the next game, we lead into a Trevenant, and this is sort of where we want to see it. I guess all of our Pokemon have like reasonably neutral matchups here, but I think the Galarian Weezing does have the best matchup here, as we can go for a brutal swing. And if we can get a shield here, we will be able to commit to the overheat here. And that's exactly what we do, but the opponent managed to catch it perfectly onto a Lantern. So very nice catch by the opponent here. We're going to go in with our Shadow Flygon. We do triple resist the spark damage, but Surfs do actually do quite a lot of damage, and we're going to go for the Dragon Claw on the CMP tie. Hopefully this takes them out, and it does barely take them out, which is great. I honestly should go for the Stone Edge here. I don't expect them to shield, but we go for the Dragon Claw and they don't shield, and Stone Edge would have been a much better play because we could have just gotten rid of this Trevenant, but unfortunately they do now shield, and they try to go for the farm down, they don't get there, but they swap into a Noctowl, catch the charge move, and I'm going to let the Flygon go down here. Now I'm going to come in with my Haxorus, swap and catch the charge move onto my Galarian Weezing, and Sky Attack doesn't take us out. They do farm us down, which is unfortunate, but I know all I have to do is farm to the back-to-back Night Slashes, and we should be fine. Actually, I'm even going to go even further, just in case the Night Slash didn't KO from that range. Night Slash now does take out the Noctowl, and we do get an attack boost finally. Not really helpful here because a Night Slash would have easily taken them out, and we get a second Night Slash boost there. So great, just when we need it, of course. But into the next game here, we're going to lead into a Shadow Dragonair, and I'm expecting it to be the same team we faced in the first battle. They go for an Aqua Tail here, and they're going to swap into their Bastiodon. We're going to come in with the shiny Haxorus, and you can see these Smackdowns pretty much do the same amount of damage as our counters, which is not ideal whatsoever. I know Night Slash wouldn't have taken them out, and they did get to the move just before our Earthquake. We're going to go for the Earthquake now here, up against whatever comes in, but they get the Dragon Breath through, and they farm me down, and we had 100 energy, and all of it goes to waste, and things are now not looking very good whatsoever. We're going to go for a brutal swing here, and that nearly takes out the Dragonair, and at this point I'm going to swap, catch the charge move. I realise I really need to preserve the Galarian Weezing for the Medicham that is in the back, and hopefully we can get to 2 Dragon Claws up against this Medicham. We go for the first one here, and unfortunately they're able to fully farm me down. It's not looking great, but we do at least have a shield, and my opponent's going to farm all the way to the back-to-back Ice Punches here, but we get to a brutal swing, and we get the Fairy Wind through. That's just giving us the energy for the overheat, which we can get to, go for it on their CMP tie, win the CMP, and take out the Medicham and take that game. So despite literally 100 energy from our shiny Haxorus going to waste, we're still able to take that game. Into the next game, we lead into a Medicham. The opponent's going to swap into a Drapion, and I'm expecting it's going to be something like a Bastiodon in the back. And we're going to swap into our Shadow Flygon here. Probably should have just counter swapped straight away, which is not ideal. And at this point I'm going to go for the Dragon Claw. I really hope this KOs because I don't want to have to use another shield, but unfortunately it doesn't KO. Actually, what am I talking about? That's my first shield used, but now they get to the second charge move here, and I will double shield in this matchup, which is not great because Medicham with a Psychic loaded actually will be able to do big damage up against my Galarian Weezing, even though we do double resist the counter damage. So honestly, from this range, a Psychic probably nearly takes us out, which is not great whatsoever. We're going to go for a brutal swing here. Doesn't do enough damage to take them out, and they do now get to a Psychic. Psychic takes out the Galarian Weezing. They swap out, and it's actually a Shadow Zapdos. So this is actually Ganetto's signature team that he just made a video on, and actually I've probably seen it on a few different content creators channels like Zionic and Dan Ottawa. Drillpeck takes us out, and we do lose that game, but a very nice team from the opponent and very nicely played. So GG's. Into the next game, we lead into another Lantern. I actually quite like to see Lantern in the lead. My opponent swaps and counter swaps with an Alola Ninetales. We go for the Stone Edge, and once again we one-shot the Ninetales, which is perfect. And my opponent actually allows me to get to a Dragon Claw here. That's great for us. Dragon Claw does some nice damage. We've already put the Lantern into the yellow health, and at this point I'm very happy with Flygon's job, so we're going to let it go down here. Come in with my shiny Haxorus. They actually allow me to get to a Night Slash, and Night Slash grabs the shield from this Lantern, so I'm expecting they're very weak to Haxorus in the back. They go for a Thunderbolt, trying to do as much damage as possible. This is just going to be a Surf, so I will let it go through, and they're now going to swap into a Excadrill. I thought it was going to be a Galarian Stunfisk, but no, they're running Excadrill, and Night Slash nearly takes them out. We get the counter through. At this point, yeah, it just makes sense to shield there and then fully counter, farm down the Lantern and take that game. So GG's to that opponent there. Into the next game, another Lantern. This time they're running Water Gun, and they actually counter swap with a Galarian Stunfisk and go straight for a Rock Slide as well. So this is all sorts of weird here, but we're going to go for a Dragon Claw. Unfortunately, Stone Edge is double resisted, so there's no point in throwing it. So it looks like we're baiting them, but honestly, this is the best charge move we can throw. And unfortunately, my opponent is pretty happy to just let all these charge moves go through. They will also go for a Rock Slide once again, and they're going to be able to farm me down here. So I'm actually like, you know what? No, I'm not letting that happen. I'm going to swap into my Haxorus. They obviously don't have a great response for dragons with ground type coverage, so I should be in a pretty good position here. We go for the Earthquake, and my opponent actually shields their Lantern. What on earth is going on? I should have just gone for the Night Slash, but I was thinking, you know what, Lantern's so bulky, there's no way they shield that, but obviously I was wrong, and they're going to go for a Surf here, and at this point, they come in with an Umbreon, so luckily for us, Haxorus still has a lot of play up against this team. We go for the Earthquake here, and then we're going to swap and catch the Foul Play or Dark Pulse onto our Galarian Weezing. It is a Foul Play, so it doesn't do an awful lot of damage at all. And even if they're running Psychic, I'm pretty sure we can live it anyway, so I will overfarm a ton. They're actually just running the Last Resort here. We get to 100 energy, go for the Brutal Swing. It's resisted, but from this range, it takes them out. We can go for another Brutal Swing up against this Lantern, and we get the final shield here, and we get to one more Brutal Swing before this Lantern can Water Gun farm us down, and we're nearly able to put them into range to farm down. Yes, we get the farm down, and I'm able to take that game. So GG's to that opponent there. Into the next game, we lead into a Noctowl, and I think I'm just going to go for an Overheat and then eventually swap after they throw a charge move. Overheat does go unshielded. That does so much damage to the Noctowl. I will let this go through, and I think I'm actually going to swap into my Haxorus. Yeah, I swap into the Haxorus. It's a simultaneous swap, and luckily for us, they swap into a Registeel. So I will have to shield once. They actually go for a Zap Cannon, but they don't get the debuff, which is great. We can go for the Night Slash now, and this actually still won't take them out, so I get one more counter through. We go for a Night Slash here. We have the back-to-back loaded. We have so much energy. They actually let it go through. The second one will be enough to take out this Noctowl here, and we're going to see they've got a Shadow Swampert in the back, so we're looking to be in a fairly good position now. Night Slash takes out the Swampert. No, what am I talking about? Night Slash is shielded by the Swampert. That's what I meant to say. Sorry, I have no idea what I'm talking about at the moment. But we can go for a Dragon Claw here. Dragon Claw will be getting the final shield from the Swampert. Certainly not taking them out yet. And now we can shield up this Hydro Cannon. Go for one more Dragon Claw. And this will finally be taking out the Swampert. And I'm able to take that game. What am I talking about? But anyways, I have forgot to cut out that intro there. So going into the next battle, we're going to lead into an Azu. This is not great for our team whatsoever. Azu completely destroys the whole team, but it's a fairly slow Pokemon. So I'm going to swap here into my Shadow Flygon, and they will get to an Ice Beam, but I'm going to overfarm, get the full Mud Shot through, and then go for a Stone Edge eventually. And we actually farmed to 100 energy there, so probably should have thrown my Stone Edge earlier, but they let it go through, which is perfect. And I will get to another Stone Edge before they get to another Ice Beam, and they let it go through as well, so I'm able to regain switch advantage, which is great. They're going to come in with a Sableye. We're going to farm to the next Stone Edge and go for a Dragon Claw here, and Dragon Claw does get shielded, and we do get to another Dragon Claw up against the Sableye. And they double shield, so I'm going to swap into my Weezing, go for the Overheat straight away, not allowing them to get to the return just yet. But unfortunately, Overheat doesn't take them out. But they go for a Foul Play, that also doesn't take me out. I can get to an Overheat with my Galarian Weezing, and it is double debuffed, but it still does some big damage to the Shadow Drapion. We're now going to come in with the Haxorus here, and if they are running Aqua Tail as a bait move, we still get to the Night Slash after they throw this charge move, but they're running Crunch, so I know I can go for one more counter, swap and catch the move, and this just ensures that we'll win this game because we definitely have a charge move loaded to throw into the Sableye, and even if they've got energy here, it doesn't matter. Night Slash takes out the Sableye, and I'm able to take that game. Alright, so going into the next battle here, we lead into a Galarian Stunfisk. Gonna swap into the Shadow Flygon here. My opponent is actually staying in. They try to catch the move. They come in with a Noctowl here, so we're gonna go for a Stone Edge, and my opponent does respect the damage here, so you can see that these birds are certainly wising up to the Shadow Flygon save swap. They even double shield, and at this point I'm thinking, is it really worth shielding my Flygon here? I think about it. I actually tried to shield at the last second, but it didn't go through, and that might be costly. We're going to see. We're going to go for a no shield here for the Sky Attack. Going to overfarm quite a lot. Actually, no, just going to go straight for a Brutal Swing. Brutal Swing does connect, and at this point, I think we should just barely live a Sky Attack here, so I will let it go through. But I'm wrong, and that might be costly now, so I think I might have misplayed this match, definitely. So we're going to go for a shield on the Sky Attack, overfarm a lot. My opponent swaps, and they go for a charge move on their Galarian Stunfisk, so very nice combo play there. They go for the Earthquake, so I can overfarm. I farm up to pretty much 100 energy, go for the Earthquake. We take out the Galarian Stunfisk here, and we need to see what is in the back. They come in with a Sableye here, so I will overfarm as much as possible, go for the Earthquake, but we have barely any health remaining. Earthquake one-shots the Sableye, but unfortunately, they do farm me down with the wing attacks there, and even though the Haxorus did so much work in that battle, unfortunately, massive misplays by myself in the early game meant that it just wasn't quite enough to take out the team, but well played to that opponent there. And into this game, we lead into a Trevenant, and my opponent does let the Brutal Swing go through, and I think we did lag by one turn, so I realised I had to go for a Brutal Swing, otherwise we would just end up being 2 turns behind as they go for the charge move. Here we try to get to the charge move, but we don't get there. They do go for the Shadow Ball, and I'm expecting a Shadow Drapion, so I'm expecting a Bastiodon in the back, and that should allow us to win this game. So I will let this move go through. Of course, it's a Aqua Tail. It doesn't take us out. We're going to overfarm as much as possible, go for the Dragon Claw, and I actually kind of want them to shield this, but they don't. They let it go through, and my opponent probably going to come in with the Bastiodon, and they do. We're going to farm to the Stone Edge here. This isn't going to do an awful lot of damage, but I do expect a shield, and we do get the shield from the Bastiodon, which is perfect. But unfortunately, they did get a very nice farm down, and a Stone Edge will do massive damage to our shiny Haxorus. So I'm going to swap and catch it onto my Galarian Weezing, and Stone Edge is fully undercharged by this Bastiodon. Really nice play here, and now they can go for a full farm down. This will be their win condition. We go for the Overheat. Overheat connects. It doesn't do that much damage, but a second one might just barely be enough to take them out. And it's not. They live with 1 HP. And unfortunately, they get to the Stone Edge here. Stone Edge barely doesn't take me out, and now we get to the Night Slash here, and Night Slash will connect, take out the Trevenant, and once again, we get a pointless Night Slash boost, but I'm able to take that game. You can see the IVs on my shiny Haxorus are absolutely awful, 10-7-0, but when you've got a shiny, you absolutely have to flex it, so that is why I'm running such a bad IV Haxorus. We land the Overheat, it does massive damage. We swap into Flygon. My opponent panics and swaps in with a Lantern, which is a great matchup for our Shadow Flygon, certainly with all shields in play anyway. We're going to go for a Dragon Claw. We get the shield, and we get to a Stone Edge on the CMP tie, and this should be connecting. It does big damage. Unfortunately, doesn't take them out because it's not super effective like the Earth Power we could be running, but at this point, I'm thinking they're probably in range for me to farm them down with counters before they get to the Surf, and we get the perfect farm down, which is great. They come in with the Gliscor. I expect a Night Slash bait. It is the Night Slash, so I'm going to swap, catch the second one onto my Galarian Weezing, and we should be in a pretty good position here. And they come in with a Berserker. We get to the Overheat. They win the CMP tie, but this is just going to be a foul play or a close combat. Foul play doesn't take us out. We go for the Overheat, and this does connect, it lands, it one-shots them, we get the Fairy Wind, farm down a simultaneous KO, and we still have the Haxorus in the back, so we take that game. And into the final battle of this video, we lead into another Noctowl, so once again gonna go for an overheat and then eventually swap when they throw their charge move, but they do go for it straight away here. Overheat does connect, it does big damage. I'm gonna let this move go through and then swap out into my Haxorus once again. They come in with the Registeel once again, they just look at the typing, didn't even bother to check what Pokemon we're running, and that is great. They go for a Focus Blast, and we already know we can go for a Night Slash. Barely not going to take them out, but it will allow me to fully farm down the Registeel before they get to the next move, which is perfect. We are going to go for the Night Slash here, and my opponent didn't overfarm with their Noctowl this time. Night Slash gets the shield. Finally, we get a boost where it actually counts for something. And I think my opponent has just left the game here. We go for another Night Slash, and yeah, they've just exited the app, and they're just wasting my time here, but whatever. We're going to fully counter farm them down thanks to the boost. It's a very nice farm down. We take out the Stunfisk, and we take that game. So that's going to be it for today's video. I had so much fun running this team once again, and I hope you guys also did enjoy watching the battles. And if you did, make sure you leave a like, leave a comment letting me know, and as well, don't forget to respond to the question of the day if you haven't done so already. And if you want to see more content like this in the future, make sure you hit that subscribe button and turn on post notifications, and that way you'll be notified whenever I upload a new video. And with that being said, let's get into the shoutouts from my previous video. So firstly, we got Small Atom who says Togedemaru. It resists every move from Galvantula, Hisuian Electrode, and the whole Alolan Geodude family because the Steel type is kind of unexpected. The resisted wild charges did so much damage along with the Fell Stinger attack boost against most Pokemon in the meta, and honestly, yeah, I think Togedemaru, very strong Pokemon, especially if you're not running into Hidden Power Luxray that often. Next we got Imminent2 who says Kanto Raichu. I saw Jonkus' video and it has access to Brick Break for the Graveler family, and it can surprise nuke some Pokemon with Skull Bash, and also it does raise its defense, so that is quite handy for a very glassy Pokemon. So yeah, I do think it is fairly underrated, and Jonkus certainly showed that it's actually fairly viable in the meta. And finally we got Introvable who says Zeb Striker. Didn't go into any detail about it, but honestly I think Zeb Striker in general is a very underrated Pokemon. With Spark, Flame Charge and Wild Charge, it can boost its attack and also do massive damage with the Wild Charges. And I had a look on PV Poke, and apparently in the one shield scenario it beats Noctowl, Lantern and Medicham, which is a very common team currently in the Open Great League. So that's a very nice resume for Zeb Striker, and of course the Shadow version is coming out very soon, so that is also quite exciting. So with that being said, thank you all so much for watching today's video, and I hope you have a great rest of your day.